How are you?
Okay. I'm good because I'm talking to Stan Lynch, and it looks like you're in a rehearsal space of sorts for Speaker Wars.
Well, it's my studio, that we work a lot in, and it's a it's a it's a sacred space for me. It's my little mother church.
Sure. So I only found out about the Speaker Wars within the last week because there was that press release announcing the band. How far back to the roots of the Speaker Wars go?
Um, well, John Davis, who's the singer, John Christopher Davis, and I met many years ago, and we were both staff writers in Nashville, and we were on different companies,
Hmm.
and the way they do it there is like you get put on a blind date.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So John and I met on a blind date, and we really hit it off. And but this is probably 15 years ago. This is a long time ago. John and I started we became pals, and then over time, John would just kept coming down here, and we'd write songs. And in my mind, I was writing songs for John's album. And then, like a good little brother, he kept bugging me and saying, "Well, why don't we make a record?" And I kind of fought it for a while, having been in a band once. I thought
Yeah.
maybe I've done all that, but John was like, he goes, "No, man, I got some great guys in Texas. They're fun, they're funny, they're good." And it was a very organic process. We just started hanging out and making noise, and it was a lot of fun.
So when it comes to those kinds of writing sessions, sometimes people call those co-writing sessions, whatever you want to call them. What's your specialty? And I ask that because sometimes you find out that there's one person who does top line, going for the chorus and the main melody. Then there's the other person who might be the engineer, the other person who might be the vibes person who doesn't actually play an instrument. Those
Hmm.
exist weirdly. What does
Hmm.
Stan Lynch do in a session like that?
Well, from my perspective, I try to provide whatever's missing in the room.
Hmm.
And I'm a natural collaborator. I love it. I
Hmm.
write by myself a lot. But when I would never, I'm never upset by a guy with a good idea. So if John walks in with a hot hand, or anybody, any of my collaborators, and I've been very fortunate that I've had a stable of fantastic people come into my life that I've been able to continue to work with.
Hmm.
If they walk in with a hot hand and they've got a pair of kings, I'm going to go like, "Man, let's play into that hand. Let's play. Let's do that." And some days I have a hot hand, and they'll go, "Man, I like that. Let's." But I enjoy writing lyrics. It's a much more of a Rubik's cube kind of thing to me. It's a there's a music is actually, I won't say it's easy because it's not, but
No.
music is sort of available to all. Everyone
Hmm.
has the same seven notes and the same guitars. And what you don't have access to is that intangible quality that's in the person's heart or soul, and especially as singers, I love to write stuff that they would be interested in going to the microphone. And usually you have to help them because that's really, I don't know if you've done any collaborating or writing, but
Sure.
the song gets written at the microphone, really. The song is actually the final draft of that lyric is when the singer walks up to the microphone and says, "This feels good to me. I This represents me." So I got a legal pad and I'm scrawling all while the singer's singing. I'm going, "Let's try this. Let's try this." And I don't know if that answers your question.
That does answer my question. Before I ask you a little bit more about Speaker Wars, the record, I'm curious if with any of your writing sessions, you ever got into one of those change a word, get a third scenarios where the person changes the yes to a yeah, and suddenly they have a third of the publishing?
Well, certainly not in this. The crowd I
Not,
run with
not
now,
in the Speaker Wars, but in your Nashville success and all that. Did that ever happen to you without naming names?
you know what? I might have been the guy that changed the word and got the third. I'm not so presumptuous to think that people were putting up with me. I mean, you know, there's a learning curve to writing, and you serve your apprenticeship. If you're fortunate, the people tolerate you and allow you to grow, and they see something in you and they nurture that. But yeah, change the word, get a third. You know, that's a popular axiom or whatever that would be. But no, it's been years since I've even felt that competitive about it. It's sometimes a collaborator to me, it does nothing more than say to me, Lynch, that's good. And then he's already earned his 50% because he's validated me, and he's someone I respect.
Sure.
Because there's usually we're not in the room together unless someone sees something in me they like, or vice versa.
So back to the Speaker Wars, the record comes out in about 2.5 months. So how long has it actually been done for?
I don't think we put the final fork in it.
Oh,
maybe, it's been a minute, probably last year. You know, I mean, well, that's only a few months ago. Probably like a calendar year ago, we really started. We met with a guy named Mike Pisturzi, who's the an exec producer who came to. We had a lot of material because we wrote. A lot of this happened during COVID, as you all know. A lot of us were kind of picking our noses for the first 3 or 4 months, just going, "What the hell do we do with our lives?" And we all thought, you know, we're setting fire to our groceries. We're all afraid to go outside. We don't know what we're going to do. So the creative people I know all got busy and learned to file share and learn to record independently. And I certainly did. It was a big education for me because I'd always relied on engineers, and, you know, I was a spoiled brat until that happened. And then it's, you know, now I can run a rig and I can do a lot of the work. So I'd say when Mike Pisturzi got involved, he said, here's 10 songs. I like these 10. You know, and we were like, they weren't probably my top 10. They were just like, I went, hey, I'm in a band, I'll go to committee. You know, that sounds like, we all kind of shook hands and went, let's do that. Let's just run with these.
And track 1 is the first song that everyone's also going to hear as the first single, You Make Every Lie Come True. Was that one of the first things that the band wrote and recorded?
That is true. Yeah, John and I got together and put that one together really quickly. That was a back porch song, you know, just something one of us said that we liked, you know, and went like, hey, let's roll with that, you know. And a lot of it, I think a lot of the most fun writing, I don't know if it's the best, it comes from a place of, you know, you're honest, and it's, you know, a lot of the best writers, I get together with the guys I respect, and it's sort of like, what's on your mind?
Right.
You know, like, let's don't be full of shit. Let's just, you know, like, what do you know? What do you think you know? You know what I mean? It's like, so, I find the process really, hey, I am nothing but grateful. This is all I've had to do since I was 15. This is fantastic, you know, so.
Right. So are we going to get some touring in support of the record?
Well, let me put it this way. I would appreciate all the help that you would give us and all your listeners. And I'm grateful if you would listen to the record. I have very managed expectation, and I realize this is an uphill battle to put a 6-piece band on the road. I would love nothing more than to go out and play. It would be really fun. It's what we played a show a few months back, and it whet my appetite. I mean, the guys in the band, they work a lot in Texas, a lot. I haven't been on the road much at all since my days with Tom, and I went out with Mike Campbell for a little while, and that got me thinking about it again. And I would love to play. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think that's what's been missing in my life, is the immediate feedback of like, we liked it. We thought that sucked. Do that again, you know?
Yeah.
I love that flying by the seat of your pants. No script. and that's what a gig to me is. There's no 3-act play. I mean, I don't have the ability to put on a show. I just know how to go out and play a rock show, which is like, go play your songs and have fun.
So it sounds like supply and demand for future touring activity of the Speaker Wars. Fingers crossed. Now, 3 quick general questions, and then you're free for me. How does that sound?
No, go. I mean, look, I'm an open book. Whatever you feel like, whatever you, what do you want to know?
Okay. Well, one thing I wanted to know, we lost David Johansen within the last week, big loss in the music world. And although he was a New York Doll, I forever associate him with Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. I'm wondering if there was ever any Heartbreakers versus Heartbreakers photo ops or cases where the two Heartbreakers got to get together and see each other.
No, but I love David, and David Johansen, the David Johansen band, toured with us back in 76, 77. We did a lot of shows together, and I became very good friends with David and Frankie LaRocca, his drummer, who I love them both. They're both passed, but I loved those guys, and they were very different, the East Coast, West Coast thing. I didn't know of Johnny Thunder's band. I knew that Frankie, the drummer, told me that Johnny was pissed. And I think the actual term, I think the thing I heard was, those surfers stole my name. And I think that was how he put it. And that was about all I heard from it. And then I remember it's just sort of, I don't know if they folded their tent or our tent just, but I got nothing but good vibes for David Johansen and the Dolls and all those cats, man. They were having a lot of fun.
Sure. Next question, which is a Heartbreakers thing, and then one about you, and then we're free. So the next Heartbreakers question is, history just keeps rewriting itself with what was the best, what was the peak, etc. For you, what was the peak with your time with the Heartbreakers?
Well, it's hard to beat making a first record when you're a kid and you're broke and you're pretty feral.
Sure.
I was living in a basement, and I was beyond broke, and I'm a teenager, and I moved to LA, and so you get a shot at making a record. I had already made it in my mind. If it all went to shit that night, I was already like, look, Ma, I got to make a record.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a first album, first tour, opening, for all those bands, those first few years, I think the peak experience for me was On the Way Up. It was just incredible. And the bonding of all the guys we were fingers on a fist. We were tough as a $2 steak. We were like,
yeah,
it's pretty hard to beat that. Second would be like, Damn the Torpedoes comes out, and we actually have a actual hit, which is beyond the pale as far as I'm concerned. I didn't even know how to process that. And but that was mind-boggling to be, on Saturday Night Live and be doing, we were constantly on MTV, and that was sort of that I didn't know where to put that. The other guys in the band handled that really well. I've always said that people process fame and fortune and power at their own speed, and Tom processed it very quickly, understood what was happening,
mm-hmm.
knew how to work that, although he was much smarter than me. And I'm a drummer in a rock and roll band. This is going great. Hell yeah. I was that guy,
It sounds like, to put words in your mouth, the chase and the catch were both enjoyable. So
yeah.
And so the last thing about you that I'm curious about here, because besides your work with the Heartbreakers, the successes you had writing and or producing the Eagles, Henley, McGraw, Mavericks, Ringo Starr, Toto, the Byrds, the Thunderbirds, like just a few artists right there. All we know about you is the music. What's your number 2? What's your form of decompression or hobby away from music? Is there such a thing?
Sure. Oh yeah. I have a life. I always did. I did a 20-year hitch in LA, but I'm not a city boy, so that didn't work for me. I moved back to Central Florida, where I grew up.
Hmm.
I live in a rural environment, and I got a place on the beach, so I'm a nature boy. You know, I've got a tree farm. We've got lambs. It's like I'm that guy. I don't know. You know, I'm pretty much fingers in the dirt. You know, I've got the same friends I had from junior high here. Um, it's it's really the only thing that's changed is the man in the mirror. When I see him, I go, "Who the hell is that guy?" Because in my mind, I still love all the same stuff I loved when I was 13. You know, I love music. I love cars. I think girls are great. I'm like, I'm still as, I love it. I love a rain. I love a rainstorm. I love having elbow room. So yeah, I mean, I love to work. That's the other thing. So I set a schedule for myself. You know,
Hmm.
every couple of weeks, every other week, I work hard, and then I,
Hmm.
read, cook, meditate. I do all the other things that make for a healthy soul. And then when I'm recharged, I come back usually into this room, and see if there's anything dying to come out.
Well said. Well, the bottom line is I'm glad that we're probably going to see you on the road with the Speaker Wars. Glad the record's coming out in 2.5 months, and really looking forward to everything that's to come from you. Thank you for the decades of great art, Stan.
Oh man, I'm very grateful that you took the time to listen. Where are you physically? Where are you?
Long Island, New York, a place you've played just a few times.
Yeah, man, nice. Good for you. Is it freezing up there? How are you?
Yeah, we are not like it you are in Central Florida. We one day we hope to be in Central Florida. We have to save up and then we downgrade to Florida, if that
No, I
makes sense.
get it. Look, hey, I don't want to rub it in. It's 70 degrees with a nice west breeze today. You know what I mean? But then we get hurricanes. But Mother Nature, she's a hell of a landlord. She really does her thing.
Pros and cons.
Oh
Pros and
yeah.
cons.
But
But
no, look, I'm grateful that you took the time, and I'm grateful to your listeners. Please, hey, tell a friend, call your congressman, get us on the road. We'd love to see you, and I mean it. I'm not just whistling at you. I'm serious. We'd love to get to work for you. We got a good
well,
band, by the way. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. We got a kick-ass band, and they're good.